Health tech is absolutely booming. It feels like every day there's a new app promising to completely change our health and well-being. But have you ever stopped to wonder, how do they actually make money? Well, behind every single successful innovation, there's a rock-solid foundation, its business model. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how these companies create, deliver, and capture value.
I mean, that's the billion-dollar question, right? You've got this amazing, groundbreaking idea that could genuinely help millions of people. But how do you actually turn that idea into a real, sustainable company? The answer isn't just about having cool tech. It's about picking the right financial engine to power the whole thing. And that's where the secret sauce is, the business model.
All right, so let's make sure we're all on the same page here. A business model really is just the company's blueprint for how it's going to make money. It answers the most fundamental questions. Who are we selling to? What do they actually care about? And how are we going to get paid for providing that value? It's basically the core logic for the whole enterprise.
You see, in the world of health tech, pretty much every big decision comes down to one simple but super important question. Who's paying the bill? If you can answer that correctly, it'll set your company on one of three very distinct paths to making a profit. And those three paths are: 1. Selling directly to healthcare providers like hospitals. That's called B2B. 2. Selling directly to consumers, people like you and me, which we call B2C. Or 3. This clever sort of in-between approach where you reach consumers through a partner, like an insurance company, and that's B2B2C. So let's dive into each one.
Okay, first up is the business-to-business path, or B2B. In this model, the customers are the big players, the hospitals, the clinics, the large health systems. Here, the whole game is about selling them the software and services they need to run their operations better and take care of their patients.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. How do they actually structure these deals? Well, the most common way is a simple subscription, where a hospital pays a recurring fee for a platform, say, like Dr. Chrono. Then there's revenue sharing, which is pretty cool because it aligns everyone's goals. The tech company only makes money when the hospital makes money. And finally, you have managed services, which is a much more hands-on approach where the vendor handles absolutely everything.
So yeah, this slide really lays out the pros and cons, right? On the one hand, you get really stable, predictable revenue coming in every month, and you build these deep long-term relationships. But wow, the challenges are huge. It can cost a ton of money and take literally months or even years to sign just one hospital as a client. And if you lose that one big client, your whole business could be in serious trouble.
All right, let's shift gears and look at the second path, business to consumer, or B2C. This is the world of all those health apps you see in the App Store. With this model, the company's success depends entirely on convincing regular folks, like you and me, to pull out their credit cards and pay for a product or service. And the ways they make money here are all over the map. You've got the classic subscription, right? A monthly fee for a wellness app. There's also pay-per-use, where platforms like Heladoc will charge you for each consultation. Some apps act more like a marketplace, taking a little commission from pharmacies or labs they connect you with. And, of course, the old standby, running ads.
Make no mistake, this B2C path is a total high-risk, high-reward gamble. The potential market is just massive. I mean, literally anyone with a smartphone is a potential customer. But the challenges are just as big. It's insanely difficult to stop people from just deleting your app after a week. That's called churn. And trying to actually turn a profit while dealing with all the complex regulations, it's a huge mountain to climb.
So what if you could get that massive B2C scale, but without the insane cost of trying to find every single user yourself? Well, that brings us to our third path, B2B2C. This is where a company partners with another business to reach that business's customers. It's kind of like a two-step dance.
So who is this middleman partner? Well, it could be a hospital that offers your tech to its patients when they're discharged. Or it could be an insurance company. Think of how Omada Health partners with insurers to offer services to their members. Or maybe the most common one, an employer that gives your wellness app to its employees as a company benefit. Each of these partners is a massive distribution channel.
The huge win here is all about trust and access. I mean, getting an endorsement from a hospital or your boss is massive. But, and this is a big but, you give up a lot of control. You're totally dependent on your partner's timeline, their priorities, and you can bet they're going to want a piece of the action, which puts a real squeeze on your profits.
So, after all that, we've looked at three really different paths, and they all have their clear pros and cons. Which one is the best one? Which one's the winner? Well, the smartest health tech companies out there answer that question with another question. Why on earth would we choose just one?
And that brings us to what might just be the smartest path of all, the hybrid model. Instead of putting all their eggs in one basket, the really savvy companies build a diversified portfolio. They create a mix of income streams, combining pieces from B2B, B2C, and B2B2C.
Just look at this example of a telemedicine platform. They're not relying on one thing. They get about 30% of their money from direct consumer consultations. Then, another 25% comes from licensing their software to hospitals. They've got insurance partnerships making up 20%, marketplace commissions another 15%, and then even a little slice from data analytics. Each one of these streams acts as a safety net if another one starts to slow down.
And here's the key insight, the big takeaway. This hybrid model is about more than just having a stable bank account. By creating all these different ways for you to interact with them, as a patient, as an employee, as an insurance member, these platforms get woven into the fabric of a user's life. It makes them way more sticky and much less likely to ever leave.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of everything we've just covered. First, success in health tech isn't just about a cool product. It all starts with the business model. Second, you have to know who your customer is. Is it a provider, a consumer, or a partner? Because that choice sets you on one of those three paths. And finally, the most resilient, successful companies, they don't pick just one path. They build a hybrid.
And all this leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future. As our needs as patients evolve, and as technology like AI and truly personalized medicine gets more and more powerful, these business models are going to keep changing. So what new combinations, what totally new paths to profit do you think will pop up to define the next generation of healthcare?